Satou is an ugly virgin loser with a face only a mother can pretend to love, but somehow managed to get the scariest teacher in the school to catch feelings for him and clap her cheeks after class. The anime begins with Satou going to the restroom for some alone time to yank his chain, but he can't even goon in peace as he walks in on his teacher, Kana, in the cubicle. Upon asking what she was doing in the male's restroom, she responded saying the women's restroom was being cleaned. She acknowledges that she's partly to blame and is willing to let it slide if he gets the fuck out of there. But the door can't seem to unlock. The virgin was terrified of being locked alone with the scariest teacher in school and screamed for help. They suddenly heard others entering the restroom, so Kana grabbed him close before he blew their cover and got them on the front page of Fox News, since if she got caught alone in a bathroom stall with a student, she'd be sharing the same jail cell as Diddy. With his face pressed against her assets, she tells him to move off slowly before she turns the restroom into a water park. Her milk bags unbutton her shirt and she lets the floodgates open, much to her embarrassment, so she loses her shit and goes to slap Satou. But he grabs her close, announcing that he's about to leak as well. A full week has passed and Satou is sat with his friend Suzuki, still unable to get the incident off his mind. He plans to fake an injury so he can ditch school, so heads to the nurse's office. Things get awkward when he finds his teacher Kana there in her vest, who fell ill with a cold. Since it's hard for her to stand, she asks him to fetch her some medicine. However, the only ones he can find are some pills that you insert where the sun don't shine. As embarrassed as she is, she goes on all fours ready to take it. She tells him not to look too much, so he puts on his blindfold. He attempts to insert it and accidentally goes for the wrong hole as she screams for him to hurry up. He finally gets it in, but another teacher walks in, forcing him to hide under the covers. After she left, Kana thanks Satou, but tells him to keep his distance before he catches her illness. Her warning was too late since he fell ill the next day. She felt guilty for passing on the illness to him, so stayed to take care of him. She pulled out the same pill she took yesterday, sending Satou into panic mode. On another rainy day, Satou heads to the laundromat but once again runs into his teacher, who stopped by to wait for the rain to stop. Her wet shirt was pretty much see-through, which sent Satou's meat into brick mode. He suggested she dry her clothes off with the dryer, and since she didn't have an extra change of clothes, Satou let her borrow his shirt, so she buttoned up and put her wet clothes in the dryer. The storm doesn't seem to be letting up as Satou noticed Kana was terrified of the thunder. The power then suddenly cut off, meaning her clothes never dried up properly. They locate the fuse box, which was too high up, so he carried her on his shoulders before catching a wondrous glimpse of her chug jugs, causing him to lose balance and knock some laundry liquid all over Kana. He attempts to lift her up higher, but things get even messier when he accidentally gropes her melons. He tries to pull her shirt back down, but ended up pulling too hard and ripping the buttons off her shirt, unleashing her fun bags, despite the heavy embarrassment for both of them. Kana suggests they try again, but with Satou on her shoulders this time. That was a huge mistake as Kana began to feel his slab of meat poking the back of her neck.
Easy, easy, big fella.
A few days have passed and Satou went to visit his mother's house and was left utterly shocked when he yet again found Kana playing with his baby sister, Chio. It turns out Kana and his mother know each other, with his mother asking Kana to babysit his little sister. Satou didn't think she was even capable of handling kids, so Kana tried to prove him wrong, but ended up making Chio cry. This is nothing new as she admits she always struggled with kids. This is a big problem for her as her parents want her to get married and have kids. Satou assumes she probably has high standards for a husband, but she says her only 3 requirements are for the man to be younger than her, good with kids and good at caring for people. She just then realized that she describes Satou, then attempts to change the topic. They decided to make the baby play in the pool as Kana also put her swimsuit on. Satou couldn't stop staring, so she splashed his perverted ass with water. While playing in the pool, Chio accidentally unties her bra, releasing her chesticles again. She jumps up out of embarrassment and accidentally pushes the baby out of the pool, to which they both reached out to catch her and accidentally lock lips together, much to their embarrassment. Chio kicks into her instincts and starts feeding from her milk bags. Satou wanted to pull her away, but Kana was fine with it because it was the first time she ever felt like she could be a mother one day. Later in the evening, Satou's mother, Saki, thanks Kana for taking care of her daughter, and after hearing her parents were hassling her to get married, She suggested Kana went for her son Satou, who gets no bitches. Despite being annoyed at first, Kana couldn't help but consider it. Some days later, Satou heads to his man cave where he stores his thick anime girl magazines, but finds Kana already there, who got invited again by his mother. With a desire to set Kana up with her son, Saki gives her some drinks, but Kana is a lightweight and gets drunk immediately. In her drunk state, she shows Saki a photo album of their pictures from years ago. She admits that she was a shy loser nerd back then but was able to come out of her shell because of a young kid. She gets a flashback of when she walked past him on a bridge and the dumb ass jumped off. So Kana went after him into the freezing cold water. She took him home to dry him off, where Satou explained that he wanted to be a grown-up and heard from a friend that jumping off that bridge makes you bigger. Kana breaks the news that he's a dumbass for believing that lie. She also admits that she needs some growing to do, so she can stop being a socially awkward nerd. Satou reassures her, saying that she seems pretty normal to him and not socially awkward at all. Since then, Satou's encouragement had given Kana the confidence she needed, and helped her become a teacher after all these years. That's when Satou regrets being the reason Kana became a teacher. It finally clicked for Kana that the kid she mentioned was Satou himself. But instead of being angry, she's happy that she was able to see him again. She thanks him for helping her and promises to do anything for him in return. Saki suggests taking care of Satou, and by taking care, she means bouncing up and down on his pogo stick. She then leaves the two of them alone in the room. Kana does some snooping around and finds his dirty magazines. She flicks through some pages, then pulls her airbags out, telling him he can cop a feel. The virgin moron refuses, saying she's his teacher. But Kana wants to teach him a lesson in biology. Just then, Shio walks in, so Satou tells Kana to put her milk bags away. Kana won't do that until she returns the favor, and suggests he kisses her instead. Hearing his mother also approaching, Satou has no choice but to kiss her, which he does, and Kana tells him to call her big sis like he used to back in the day. Saki walks in and sees they were getting busy, so leaves them to it. The next morning, they bump into each other at school and Satou calls her big sis. But she scolds him for calling her that since she doesn't remember a thing from yesterday. A few days later, Saki and Satou are invited to a wedding on a tropical island, and as you might have guessed, Kana is there also. Satou asks his mom what Kana is doing there, and she replies saying they had an extra ticket that she didn't want to go to waste. She says Kana is going to be part of the family anyway, telling him it's clear that she likes him. Satou refuses to believe Kana actually likes him, but his mother promises to be his wing woman and leaves the two of them alone together. Kana and Satou move to an isolated spot to kill some time, but the loser gets nervous and tries convincing himself that Kana doesn't like him. Kana asks him to rub some sunscreen on her, telling him to go higher as she lets out some happy noises. She accidentally blurts out that she's in love with him, making her jump out of embarrassment after realizing what she had said, turning around and giving Satou a handful of her bean bags. She tells him to pretend he never heard that and jumps into the water from embarrassment, but ends up nearly drowning. She felt like she got bitten by something, then catches sight of a sign warning them about sea snakes. She's afraid the venom might delete her, but Satou promises to suck the venom out. He asks where the venom bite is, and of all places, the bite was right next to her coochie. Satou has no choice but to stand on business and spread her legs to suck the juices out. Kana then passes out from what Satou thought was the venom, but he later learned that she passed out from overstimulation. She later thanked him as Satou noticed how different her personality is from how she acts at school. At the wedding, Satou asks if they can revisit the island after he graduates, just the two of them. But she gets mad thinking he's asking to marry her. Back from the island, Kana meets with her teacher friend Mayu and is about to give her the rundown on what happened on the island, but suddenly Satou calls and she starts giggling while talking. This makes Mayu sad knowing she's liked Suzuki for 3 years and she still doesn't have his phone number. Some days have passed and Satou tells Suzuki that he started seeing Kana, and Suzuki can't believe he managed to bag her. He tells him that he'll be eating with Kana at lunch from now on, leaving Suzuki's nerdy ass in the dust.
Dude, I've been there for you since day one!
Soon after, Mayu, his secret admirer, arrives asking if he would like to eat lunch with her. He's shocked at the fact she chose him to eat with, but accepts nonetheless. She suggests that they try each other's food and tries to feed him using her fork. Suzuki shares his food using his lid, making her realize she came off rather strong. She panics and is about to fall into the water fountain as Suzuki tries grabbing her but just ends up ripping off her skirt. He quickly grabs her out of the water, placing her on his lap. He then accidentally turns on the sprinkler, which shoots right up into her salmon. Upon getting her out of the water, he aggressively apologizes, offering his sweater for her to wear since it was still dry. After leaving, the weird bitch takes a good whiff of the sweater. In the dressing room, Kana notices Mayu wearing Suzuki's sweater and asks if she's into him. Mayu blushes, saying a teacher shouldn't mess around with her student, unknowingly taking a dig at Kana. Later on, she finds herself in a packed train right next to Suzuki. She explains that she had his commuter pass that he left in his sweater, so returns it to him. She realizes her blouse got stuck in between the door, and while trying to pull it out, she loses balance and grabs onto him. What's worse is she can't let go as her buttons became undone, exposing her plots. He uses his jacket to cover her from the others, but he also loses balance and pushes her against the window, giving the onlookers a sight to behold. He attempts to button up her shirt for her before they arrive at the next platform. He ends up grabbing the wrong buttons, the buttons attached to her chest, and she becomes overwhelmed with the feeling. He luckily buttoned her up in time as they arrived on the platform, but an officer suspects that he may have gotten touchy on the train since her shirt was all messed up. To avoid getting Suzuki in trouble, Mayu suggests telling the officer that they're a couple, but Suzuki, being the honorable man he is, will not lie to the officer. This is when Mayu realizes she has zero chance with him. Suzuki later heads to grab some takeaway while everyone stares at him because his old ass ordered a kid's meal. And of course Mayu appeared right next to him. She tells him she doesn't live too far from here, and Suzuki explains he got the kids' meals for his younger siblings. It suddenly starts raining, but Suzuki's younger siblings Suzu and Rei turn up in raincoats with an umbrella for him. Since they live close by, they decided to walk together under the umbrella. Suzu and Rei ask to see the toys they got with their meal. Rei gets a panda and Suzu gets salty as she got a fish. Mayu offers to trade her panda with Suzu's fish. Suzu throws it up in the air with excitement and it lands in between Mayu's assets. Trying to hide the embarrassment, she hands over the panda. A nearby truck is about to pass by, so Suzuki pushes them all to the side of the road, accidentally sticking the umbrella handle up Mayu's crack of wonders. She gets stimulated like crazy but tries to hide it and runs off home. At home, her younger sister Seiya barges in on Mayu in the bathtub, scolding her for buying dumb toys at her age. Later in the evening, Mayu plays third wheel at a restaurant with Sato and a clearly intoxicated Kana. She's too drunk, so Sato takes her home, while Mayu is left alone thinking about how lucky Kana is to have a guy like Sato for her. She falls asleep on the table dreaming about the time she was late to school and tripped while running, breaking the heel of her shoe. Just then Suzuki found her there and asked if she was alright. She explained how she was late to her employment exam, so Suzuki carried her on his back and ran towards the school. Mid-run, she realizes her bra got undone. They eventually made it early, and he even helps fix her broken heel. Her heart starts racing for him, and he wishes her good luck on her exam, then dashes off before Mayu can even ask for his name.
Wait! Who are you?
She suddenly wakes up and finds herself on Suzuki's back after Sato called him to check on her. This reminds her of the first time he carried her on his back like this. She feels like telling him how she really feels, but ends up just thanking him instead. A couple days after, the school is preparing for the festival while Suzuki, Mayu, and Seiya help out. They are joined by Takashi and his crazy advisor, Hikari. While coming back from school, Takashi promises himself to try his best for the festival, as he realizes working with Hikari could be a pain in the ass. But as he enters his room, there she is, so he freaks out. She says it was too cold in her room since the heater broke, so she's crashing at his place. She pulls him in closer as he struggles to breathe because of her giant milk bags. The two of them are longtime childhood friends who would always play with each other as kids. But Takashi feels like she hasn't changed. She's now fast asleep, but as he tries to leave, her shirt gets caught on his button, revealing her huge chesticles. Her bra also became undone, so he tries to clip it back together, but makes things worse. She grabs him closer in her sleep, with his face right up against her bare milk sacks. Since she's a PE teacher, she's pretty strong, so he struggles to break free again. She then suddenly wakes up in this awkward situation, but pats his head thinking he's just missing his mom's milk. She then takes her leave as Takashi is both relieved but also annoyed that she doesn't see him as a grown man yet. However, Hikari freaks out behind the door thinking Takashi's adult male instincts are finally kicking in. A few days later they go shopping together like normal, except Hikari takes him to a woman's underwear store because she needs a new bra. He tries to escape, but she restrains him saying he'll be picking the set of bras. She waits for him in the dressing room as he panics and picks out a random pair, not seeing what it was. It turns out it was see-through, making her think he was trying to mess with her. She still puts them on, realizing they're way too revealing, so covers herself with her jacket. Takashi asks if she's dressed, and before she can answer he drags her out without looking because he just wants to get out of the store. She tries to alert him, but he keeps running until they reach an escalator. He finally turns around and sees how she's almost butt naked. He tries to zip up her jacket, but the zip won't go past her giant pillows. She gets embarrassed and pulls him close to cover her chest, but accidentally backs into the escalator belt where the moving belt penetrates against her cave of wonders. They later arrive at a cafe where Hikari seems really mad. Takashi looks scared and apologizes, but she forgives him, saying she still had a lot of fun today. Fast forward to when they're hiking on a school trip. Hikari surprises him, and he panics because he seems to have fallen for her ever since the incident. He accidentally slips on rock, and while trying to save him, they both fall into the water. They take shelter in a small cave until the rain passes. Takashi, who's prone to illnesses, nearly passes out from the cold. She's unsure of what to do but remembers something she saw on TV, so strips completely to help warm him up using her body heat. They cuddle up together, but Takashi is desperate for something to drink. She takes too long to get a drink, so he goes for it and sucks on her milk pillows. This makes her spill the drink as Takashi licks it off her body. He eventually licks too far down her body, reaching her fountain of youth.
I'ma eat it.
After DJing with his tongue, he falls asleep on her lap while she caresses his hair. This makes him realize that she's always been the one to take care of him all these years, and maybe that's why he's fallen for her. Out of nowhere, he tells her that he loves her, which makes her blush and ask what he meant, but he falls back asleep to avoid answering. It's now the day of the festival, where Mayu invited herself to spend the day with Suzuki. She came in disguise wearing uniform so students don't realize she's a teacher. They then run into Hikari, who invites them to try the event she's hosting, which involves finding and capturing criminals around school. Hikari puts her in handcuffs and pushes them into a room where they have to find the key. Suzuki finds what looks like the key, but gets startled when Mayu got too close, dropping the key that unclips her bra and exposes her milk factory. He goes looking for the key, but it's in Mayu's panties, which she can't reach since she's in handcuffs. She tells him to close his eyes while he digs his hands in her undies to find the key. The key goes flying out once he pulls her pants down, as he lifts his head up and gets a face full of her salmon dish. Suzuki manages to uncuff her and apologizes for what happened. He's ashamed that he's a useless virgin loser, but she reassures him that he's been nothing but a gentleman and a lifesaver. In the moment, she even admits that she loves him, which makes both of them blush as she rushes out the room panicking. The bonehead finally realizes that she's really into him, but isn't sure about a teacher-student relationship. However, when he looks around, he sees that it's pretty common in this weird-ass anime. Takashi and Seiya are later exploring the abandoned school building to set it up for the festival, where they find Hikari passed out on the floor. It all happened when the two of them were asked to patrol the area, as Hikari got jealous of them being close, so decided to try and mess with them, only for the floorboard to break underneath her fat ass as she ran into the abandoned building. They both decide to head out and look for help, but Hikari grabs Takashi, asking him to stay, but he ends up falling under the floorboards too. Under there, Takashi has a great HD view of her cannons. He plans to help lift her up, however she's desperate to pee. Takashi, not wanting to be given a golden shower, grabs a bucket for her. However, her hands aren't free, so she asks him to pull her panties to the side, while she lets the floodgates loose. Seiya comes back with Suzuki, hearing the commotion, so Takashi quickly gets rid of her nature juice so they wouldn't notice. They finally pull her out, too embarrassed to look him in the eyes. She plans to make Takashi do something embarrassing, so they become even, but Takashi quickly leaves with Suzuki and Seiya, leaving Hikari wondering if she completely freaked him out. That night, students gathered to explore the haunted school building as part of the festival. News quickly spread of a bear on the loose. someone in a costume is running around terrorizing couples in the school. However, the bear's efforts are backfiring since the couples are now becoming closer. This has started rumors that the bear will help students get with their lovers, so people are now chasing down the bear. Takashi sets out to catch the bear to prevent the festival from getting any more chaotic. After the bear finally dodged the students, it turned out to be Hikari in the costume. She blames Takashi ditching her for getting in this mess. He suddenly arrives, having a feeling she'd be hiding in that room and that she was in the costume. He tries to pull her out of the room, but they hear more students approaching, so rush back in. Takashi somehow ended up inside her costume while he struggles to get out and ends up pulling down her shirt. Her cannons make their presence known as Takashi's pogo stick starts to enlarge. After they separate, Seiya and Suzuki arrive to inform them that the Haunted Abandoned School Challenge is about to begin. But before they leave, Hikari makes it clear to Takashi that he belongs to her and her only. Meanwhile, the dumb-ass Mayu is still in search of the bear, and when she thinks she found it, blurts out that she loves Suzuki, only then realizing that she said it to Suzuki himself. Suzuki says he's just a student and can't provide for her, so asks to marry her in the future. This makes Mayu pass out. The next day, the boys go to a restaurant where their friend Tanaka finds out that they're dating their teachers. He's shocked to hear it, but also learns that Takashi is also getting some action with his teacher. So he swears to get a girlfriend before graduation in 3 months, so he's not the only loser virgin. It'd be a tough task since he hardly interacts with any girls at school. Just then he bumps into a woman, spilling oil all over her. It turns out to be his teacher Chizuru. He apologizes, saying he'll grab her another shirt, but she replies saying she'd much rather enjoy some coffee than listen to his lame-ass apologize.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice.
This reminds him of how cold she always is, even as the school nurse. He pleads her to take the shirt before she heads to her table, but she doesn't respond. Instead, she just strips casually while Tanaka tries to leave the room. He ends up slipping on the oil and falls onto her, getting a direct view of her water balloons. He tries to get off but can't since he twisted his ankle badly. Tanaka is surprised by how expressionless she is as she tells him to look away. He manages to get up and apologizes once more, but she notices his ankle. She offers to treat it, but the dumb ass rushes off to find her some new pants, leading her to believe she's failed at her job. She later seeks Hikari for some advice. Hikari tells her to change her expression and learn more about the students so she's more approachable to them. It's now Christmas Eve and Chizuru showed up at Tanaka's house in a hot Santa outfit. When asked what she was doing there, she replies saying she wants to learn more about her students, and she'll be filming it, not for an adult movie, but so she can watch back and learn better. Tanaka first wants to know more about her, so she shows him some baby videos, thinking he'll know her better, but Tanaka wants to know about the present Chizuru, so she plays a sad vid of her alone on Christmas the year before. She states that she always spends Christmas alone, but this year it's different now that Tanaka's there, which makes her happy. Tanaka blushes, thinking she might have feelings for him. He offers to record a video for her, but the camera is pointed at her fish dish. He panics and knocks over the cake, which she stretches to catch as she lands on top of him. He accidentally sprays some champagne on her undies, so supplies her with an extra pair of boxers to take home. Before she leaves, she hands him the present she bought, and in return Tanaka gifts her a present of his own. He had it ready in case his lonely ass was to ever get a girlfriend. It was a teddy bear which she wrote her name on and thanked him for it. After she leaves, he opens his gift, and it turned out to be her panties. Turns out she accidentally gave him the wrong present.
That ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
A few days later, Tanaka arrives at Iwagaki Island and is shocked to run into Chizuru there. It all started when he helped carry her shopping bags from the mall, and to show her gratitude, she purchased a raffle ticket, promising to give him the prize if she won. Tanaka says there's no need to, but she insists, so they agree to split the prize down the middle. She ended up winning an all-expenses-paid trip to Iwagaki Island for 2, which still has Tanaka shocked till now. Chizuru drags him over to a cool spot she found with a nice view, then strips out of nowhere to go swimming. However, there's a sign that states swimming is not allowed at this time of year, so they decide on searching for little sea creatures. However, she slips from the shore into the water. Tanaka dives in to save her and push her up, but panics when he sees that her panties had come off. She also loses her top half when she's pushed against the shore, as a hermit crab clings onto her nip, causing her to fall onto his shoulders. She asks for help from Tanaka, so he reaches for the crab, but ends up grabbing the other button. Luckily, the crab lets go anyway as Tanaka apologizes once more. Come evening time, they change back into their dry clothes, as Tanaka notices her holding a magazine about the best spots to be with boys. He asks about it, and she admits that she wanted to make sure he had fun too. This makes the loser virgin's heart start racing as he realizes he might be in love. The following day, they partake in various activities together until it gets late, and she suggests they hike up the top of the mountain to stargaze. However, it suddenly starts raining, so they find shelter in a cave. Tanaka says it's chilly, so she gets up close to try and keep him warm, but the loser panics as they fall down a lower part of the cave. Chizuru lands in a sus position, but tells him not to move or the stalactites might break. So they try to move as carefully as possible, pretty much playing Twister, and Chizuru's badonkas get all up in Tanaka's face. The rain stops, and they finally manage to get back on their feet. However, the clouds are in the way of the stars. Suddenly, the moonlight reflects itself on all the stalactites, giving them a pretty night sky appearance. In that moment, he thinks to himself about how hard he's fallen for her. But when he realized he said it out loud, and she heard it, he panicked. While Chizuru is happy to finally be loved by one of her students. On Valentine's Day back at school, Takashi shows off his gift of chocolates he got from Hikari, which makes him salty knowing he hasn't gotten a gift from Chizuru. He has faith, however, that he'll receive a gift as long as he's patient, but he ends up waiting in class so long that it's now dark outside. It's also snowing like crazy with all the trains and buses out of service. He decided to walk, but hears a thud on the ground. It's Chizuru who had fallen. He takes her back inside the school in front of a heater. When asked what she was doing there, she changed the topic and stripped since her clothes were wet. He spots a box of chocolate from on top of her clothes that she snatches away. He thinks she also got a gift from Hikari, but she starts sneezing before she can explain herself. There's nothing for them to cover themselves up with, so Tanaka suggests she eats the chocolates from Hikari to help warm her up. But she won't do it unless he takes a bite too. When taking it out, it's all melted and drips onto her bazookas, so Tanaka says she can have all of it, before slipping on some clothes while falling onto a mouthful of her chocolate-covered muffin. He somehow licked all the chocolate clean off of her knockers. She says it's fine because the chocolates were for him anyway. Turns out she made chocolates together with Hikari, leaving the loser blushing. He realizes he needs to bust a move on her before he graduates, and it's too late. So he formally declares his love and asks to go out with her. Awaiting a response, she decided to turn his nerdy ass down. He says he respects her decision and tries to head home, but remembers the snow, so has no choice but to sit his ass down and embrace the awkwardness. We fast forward to graduation, and Tanaka breaks down during his speech when it hits him that he's leaving the school the same way he started, a hopeless loser bitchless virgin. The boys later hang out to congratulate Tanaka on his graduation and invite him to go on a trip. But Tanaka couldn't understand why all the teachers were there too. This is because they'd be coming along on the trip too. Chizuru spills some ingredients on her shirt, while Tanaka goes looking for a spare shirt for her to borrow. While alone in the room, she congratulates him on graduating. He replies and thanks her for being a great teacher. However, Chizuru tells him not to call her that anymore since she's no longer his teacher. He takes it as though she wants nothing to do with him, so leaves her the spare clothes before exiting the room. While alone, she feels as if she failed to convey her feelings properly, and while changing she accidentally knocks over a framed photo which she jumps to catch, but a fishing pole falls onto her, causing her to get tangled up on the fishing line while naked. Tanaka hears all the noise and tries to help out, but the line gets caught on the door lock, meaning he can't get in. He runs to get some scissors, but the dumb ass leaves the door half open. Tanaka and Hikari are approaching, so she tries pulling the string to shut the door. Luckily, Tanaka gets there in time and cuts the string as the door shuts behind him. He untangles Chizuru as she goes to hug him. She uses the opportunity to make her feelings clear, telling him that they no longer have the student-teacher relationship, so asks him out. Tanaka can't believe it as he turns red. She apologizes for rejecting him at first and was going to give him a letter but was too embarrassed. But since he's now graduated, they can be together. Tanaka is over the moon as they head downstairs with the rest of them to discuss their trip. Tanaka suggests going somewhere where they can stargaze so Chizuru can catch a shooting star. Later on, as the cherry blossoms fall, Takashi and Hikari are snuggled up on a bench. Sato and Kana are holding hands on their stroll down the park. Suzuki and Mayu are sat sharing food together. And Tanaka and Chizuru are holding hands under a tree. As they go in for a kiss, they all get embarrassed when they realize that they're all gathered in the same spot. It's time for their spring break trip, and the gang arrives at the hotel so they can finally all smash. But bad news arrives when they find out that they have no reservation for the hotel. Kana goes into full meltdown mode because she can't get the Sato Pogo Stick special. However, the hotel does have 2 rooms with 2 twin beds each. That won't be enough for all of them, so Hikari and Takashi agree to stay at a nearby cafe, while Chizuru and Tanaka are fine finding a hotel elsewhere. That leaves Kana with Sato and Suzuki with Mayu. Chizuru had found another hotel with a great view of the stars from the rooms. It starts raining, so they speedwalk together to the hotel while holding hands. Tanaka still can't believe he bagged such a baddie and vows to protect her. When he sees that she booked a love hotel, he knows what time it is. Meanwhile, Takashi and Hikari are playing video games, but Takashi keeps getting distracted by the jiggle mechanics outside the game. Takashi is slowly getting fed up, wanting to go to sleep already. Hikari thinks he's saying that to get inside her pants, so tells him that their first time can't be at a cafe hotel. But Takashi is already half asleep, not knowing what she's yapping about. Late at night, Kana and Mayu are in the hotel pool, as Kana feels bad about sending the others to different hotels. Mayu reassures her that they're all probably having a great time anyway. Inside the love hotel, Tanaka is getting anxious thinking about potentially doing the dirty deed with Chizuru, while Chizuru feels ripped off when she finds that the view of the stars the hotel advertised was just a starlight projection. Tanaka apologizes in advance for his inexperience in bed, telling her to go easy on his virgin ass if he can't satisfy her. He then goes to take a bath before they get busy, as Chizuru only now realizes she booked a love hotel, which is why Tanaka was so nervous. Meanwhile, Kana comes back to her room from the hotel pool. They suddenly hear some happy noises from Suzuki and Mayu's room next door. It sounds as if Suzuki is working his magic on Mayu, but it turns out that he's just giving her a massage. Not wanting to miss out on some action, Sato pulls Kana's bazingas out and goes in for a kiss. Meanwhile, Chizuru joins Tanaka in the bathroom and makes her move, but Tanaka is too much of a virgin loser, so he nuts in world record timing from just a single touch. He cries himself to sleep for being such a loser wimp, but Chizuru grabs him close and reassures him that she likes everything about him. He then turns over as they kiss, and she gives him a second chance to clap her cheeks. It's now the morning, and Tanaka and Chizuru are the last to join the rest of the group after Tanaka spent the night using his huge mandingo to ruin Chizuru's guts, so much so that she's now limping.
Take you